So what is it actually like to have a mind that's, well, constantly overclocked? We're about to dive deep into the inner workings of a truly unique brain, one that operates at an unbelievable speed, and explore how it found a pretty unlikely partner in artificial intelligence.
This single quote right here, it gets straight to the heart of the whole thing. This isn't just having a busy mind. We're talking about a constant, overwhelming traffic jam of information. And honestly, that feeling is the key to understanding everything else we're going to talk about.
Okay, so what in the world is the diagnosis for a mind that feels like that? Well, it all starts with this one foundational concept that really helps explain this kind of supercharged cognitive engine.
The diagnosis is something called twice exceptional, or 2E for short, and it describes this fascinating duality. On one hand, you have an exceptional gift, like just massive analytical intelligence. But it's paired with a really unique processing style, like traits you'd see with autism spectrum disorder or ADHD. You know, a good way to think of it is like this. You've got this super powerful computer processor, right? But then, on the other side, you have wiring that just doesn't follow the standard pathways. It's kind of like dropping a Formula One race car engine into a car that was just never, ever built to handle that kind of power.
So when he describes his own mind, how does he put it? He calls it a high-speed, recursive pattern-matching algorithm. It's not just thinking, like you and I might think of it. No, it's a constant, almost machine-like process of generating questions about everything he sees, every single second. All right, so this powerful engine is running a really unique operating system. So how does it actually see and process the world? Well, it's kind of like seeing the code behind reality. It's like seeing the Matrix. The core of this operating system is something he calls factorial thinking. And look, this is way more than just being curious. It is an involuntary, non-stop drive to optimize, well, everything. His brain automatically deconstructs any situation into this complex puzzle that it feels absolutely compelled to solve, right there, on the spot.
For example, take a simple plastic grocery bag. For most of us, it's just a bag. But for him, it instantly becomes this complex engineering problem. What is the optimal design for this? What's the cheapest way to make it? Where did the plastic even come from? Was it strength tested? What is its exact failure point? This happens with everything. And this deep analysis isn't just for objects, he applies it to people with this staggering intensity. In just a normal, everyday conversation, he's actively tracking about 40 distinct behavioral patterns in real time. 40!
So, what's the total scale of this internal, cognitive world he's living in? He puts the number at around 10,000 data points. Now, I know that number sounds totally abstract, but let's actually put it into perspective. He suggests that most people operate on, say, a 10 by 10 grid. You're processing maybe 100 data points at a time. What he's experiencing is just exponentially larger. And the key here isn't just seeing more data, it's about processing the connections between all the data points, and then the connections between those connections. It's a whole other dimension of thought. But as you can probably guess, running a processor that powerful, that constantly, comes at a huge cost. So what happens when a system is always redlining? Well, eventually, you get a system crash.
He describes the genuine distress of seeing inefficiency in the world as being like seeing a Tesla with an 8-track hardwired in. For him, it's not just a minor annoyance. It is a deep, system-grinding frustration.
And remember that feeling of 70,000 thoughts trying to get out at once? He compares it to emptying a football stadium after a game. You can't just open all the gates at the same time, because the exits and the aisles, they just get jammed. It is a logistical nightmare just trying to get information out of his own head. And the toll this takes is immense. I mean, his brain literally never shuts off. He even dreams of coding algorithms to solve problems and keep his family safe. This relentless processing leads to this profound sense of isolation. His own best friend once told him he's very difficult to be around, and it all just culminates in this deep, frustrating feeling of being, well, fundamentally unfigurable. So, how do you even begin to manage an engine that is always redlining? The search for a solution became a major turning point, and it led him to a very, very unexpected strategy. So, through all this systematic self-experimentation, he made a pretty shocking discovery. A particular strain of cannabis that's known for sedation and relaxation had the complete opposite effect on him. It triggered this state of intense focus, which was just more proof
of how differently his brain is actually wired.
In this whole experience, it revealed a core need. He finally realized he couldn't solve the internal chaos from the inside. He had to get outside of it. In his own words, I need a mirror of myself. He needed some kind of external system to reflect his own high-speed processing back at him so he could finally make sense of it. And this is the practical, three-step strategy he developed to build that mirror. First, he captures everything, that raw stream of consciousness, using voice recorders, just a massive brain dump. Then, he transcribes all of that audio into text. And finally, he feeds that giant text file to an AI and asks it to do the one thing his own brain can't, to step back, synthesize it all, and find the bigger, overarching patterns.
Now, this isn't just about using some new tech tool. He calls this his AI Jarvis path. He's literally building an external AI partner to offload his cognitive load, not just so he can function better, but so he can actually evolve his own way of thinking.
This really personal journey, it opens up a much, much bigger conversation. It kind of forces us to stop and consider the broader implications of this one story for the future of thought itself.
You see, for a mind like this, the path to clarity isn't meditation or trying to slow down. It's actually the exact opposite. It's about finding a technology, a partner, that is finally powerful enough to keep pace with the incredible speed of his own internal processor.
And that leaves us with a really powerful final question to think about. If a mind this complex needs AI just to find some balance, what happens when all that mental bandwidth is finally freed up? What new frontiers become possible for all of us when we finally have partners that can actually keep up with our fastest, most complex thoughts?